Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier et de Rêves channel. I'm Ursula and today I will be painting with you a pine cone with a branch. Today I've decided to show you how I draw for watercolor painting. It's a really quick sketch, but it will help me for the painting as it will place landmarks on my paper where I put everything. I don't care too much to go dark with my pencil because when I'm going too light, I often don't see my marks on the paper after my first wash. So I'm using a 4B pencil and I'm pressing quite a lot. Right after my sketch, I can start my watercolor painting. I'm starting quite slowly at first because I want to keep some part white. They will represent some pine needle, a bit lighter than the others. As pine has quite a blue-green color, I'm using a mix of ultramarine blue and Viridian, but with a lot more of ultramarine blue in order to get that greenish blue tint. For this painting, I'm painting rather slowly because I don't want to put too much paint on my paper too quickly. I want to give this sense of direction of pine needle first, and then I will blend the color in the rest of the paper. And like at the beginning, I'm keeping some part totally white. And I'm also trying to think about composition right now because my center of interest, my focus point, is on the center right with the pine cone. And so I don't want to put too much things on the left side. So to keep really the attention of the viewer on the right. So for this left side of my paper, I'm just making some splattering and I soften it with a spray bottle, and that's it for this side. I don't want to take the advantage on the right side. And while my paper is still wet, I'm putting a little bit more color everywhere, and I add some brown color into the trunk to have the reference there. For this first layer, I'm using quite a few colors, just ultramarine blue, Viridian, Quinacridone gold and burnt sienna, and that's it. It's easier to get unity of color when you don't use too many colors in one painting. And now I will let my paper dry before doing anything else. I've started my second layer with a bit of negative painting. I was painting dark color around the needles, but I don't think it was very useful at the end because it doesn't show very much in the final painting. But it's a good exercise, so it's not a big deal. With this second layer, I will start painting each needle on my branch of pine tree. It's a very long process, not very annoying because when I paint it, it's quite relaxing in fact. But yeah, it's long, so you need to have time to do that. I'm not looking here for a realistic effect, and I'm never looking for a realistic effect in any of my painting, but in order to have this texture of pine needle, I need at some points to draw them one by one. Maybe there is other technique that I don't know, but for now this will do. In order to get a more natural effect on my pine needles, I will change the color a little bit each time I dip my brush in my palette. So I will maybe sometimes put a little bit more ultramarine blue, or a little bit more Viridian, or a little bit more Quinacridone gold. It depends. And I will also pay attention to the color I will use for the pine needle in some part of my painting. That's to say, if I'm painting pine needle in the corner right, bottom right, it's more bluish tone. So I will add more blue to my color for my pine needles. But it sits on the top of my painting. It's more gold green, so I will use more Quinacridone gold or Viridian in this area. As you can see, for now, I've kept totally white my pine cone, but I could have painted in my first layer with a light wash in order to get some soft edges around. And now I'm putting a first layer on this pine cone. I'm keeping it very light for now, and I will do more details later once the first layer has dried. While I'm adding a little bit more pine needle and I'm adding depth to my painting, I will explain a little bit more how I paint a pine cone. It's not my first time, and you will be able to see my previous pine cone painting in the blog post. I will put the link in the description below. So the easiest way for me to paint pine cone is to paint this first layer first and adding some darker layer step by step and building the dark colors quite slowly but surely. With a dark layer, I will alternate soft edge and hard edges to get more volume and depth on the pine needle and make it look more natural than realistic. And even if I want to paint around all the lighter area, I will not do so, or at least I will try not to do so, because it's more spontaneous if it's a bit more random, and it will look more natural so. So now I'm adding the first layer of dark in the pine cone. I will wait a little bit to the color soak a little bit more in the paper, and then I will blend some parts to give that idea of volume that I talked just before. And at the same time, I'm working also on the texture on the trunk. I'm adding some color and I will blur it a little bit, like the pine cone, in fact. Once I've blurred some area in the pine cone, I will watch them quite closely because I'm adding a little bit more water and the pigment will flow in that puddle of water. So I have to watch it and to make sure it will stay quite light. And if the color moves a little bit too much, I will take it back with a dry brush. And now I'm adding a little bit more color in some part of my painting, and I will add a little bit more pine needle again. So I don't have any much more to say, so I will let you with a little bit of music, and I will come back with a supply list a bit later. And now let's talk about supplies. I've used an Aquario Escoda number 18 and a Raphaël brush Petit Gris 803 number 2. For the color, I've used Ultramarine blue, Viridian, Quinacridone Gold, Verona Gold Ochre. At the very end I've used Winsor Yellow Deep, and I've also used burnt sienna. And for the paper I've used the arches in rough. So now I'm in the detail phase of my painting. I will add some details and I will darken again some area. And I will also use the Winsor Yellow Deep in some places, like at the end of the pine needle, because this part is a little bit more yellow than the rest of the needle. And I'm using this specific color, Winsor Yellow Deep, because it's a little bit more opaque than Quinacridone Gold. Overall, I'm really happy with this painting because I like a lot how the composition works, with right side quite dark and with lots of information, but the left side very soft and blurry and light. And also I did like to paint all those pine needles because it was so relaxing to paint them. And as I'm talking about pine needles, I can say also that all my work to understand my brush and trying to paint the finest strokes possible is paying right now, because the pine needles are quite fine and consistent on all my painting, and I'm very happy with that. I also like to be very free in my first layer with splattering and making puddles of colors everywhere. It was quite fun, and also to balance that, to be able to make some very fine marks and very precision work at some point. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you liked it. Please check the blog post for more information and to see my reference image and all my little things more. And if you want, you can tell me what you think about this painting in the comments below. See you soon.